morning and welcome to day 4 of my trip from Traralgon to Perth. I've woken up pretty early. It's about 7:15 now and I'm just getting everything packed up and I'm ready to leave. Thankfully the wind has died down, but there's lots of standing water out there. It kept on blowing well into the night. But I was pleased when it really sort of calmed down, maybe mid-morning, sort of maybe like 2 or 3 o'clock. And I stopped getting notifications on my phone from the bike saying that it was vibrating. Anyway, everything's getting packed up. I've got the tarp off. I'm just ready to put everything in. I might go see if I can grab a bite to eat. Today's a pretty cruisy day. I think it's a bit over 200 kilometres from here to Adelaide, but it's around the coast, so it should be quite scenic and beautiful. I don't know if I'll stop into some places like Hahndorf, which is a little German village, which is pretty cool. What else is there? I actually slept pretty well in this tiny little bed. Curled up in the fetal position so I could fit in there, but I slept a good 6 hours at least, which was awesome. And I managed to edit 2 videos, so I'm caught up. So I've done day 1, day 2 and day 3. In fact, day 2 and day 3 turned out much better than I'd hoped, so I'm going to go back and edit day 1 just to bring it up to that standard a little bit. But I hope you're enjoying the series, and I'll see you along the way somewhere.
Well, here we are setting off from Kingston, and as you can see the weather is miserable, but we do have one surprise in store. Should be just down the road here before we hit the road in earnest to get down to, or to get up to Adelaide. Hopefully it's predicted that the closer we get to Adelaide the better the weather will get, so I'm hoping everything will dry out whilst we move along. There it is, the giant lobster. See my first patch of blue sky for the day. Let's hope there's more of that coming, because it's wet and cold, but at least today the wind is at my back, give me a little push along, but bring on that blue sky. probably should have filled up before I left Kingston, because it's saying I've only got 55 k's of range left. The next town is, I think it's Menidgee, and I'm honestly not sure how far away that is, but hopefully we'll make it, and hopefully there's a petrol station there. I know in 60 k's there's Tail and Bend, which does have petrol stations, and that's, yeah, 62 kilometers away, so I might be able to get there on fumes if there's nothing in Menidgee, but we'll see how we go. Anyway, that's a bit of excitement. I'm not particularly worried about it. Whatever happens, happens. It's only 9:30, so we'll be right. If I have to push it to Tail and Bend, so be it. Okay, this looks promising. Two k's to go to, I think it's called Menidgee, and it did have fuel on the sign, and we got 45 kilometers worth of fuel in the tank, give or take. Come on Menidgee, don't let me down. Oh, okay. Is it open? I think it's open. We're saved. Off and good to go. For a multi-strata. That servo was busy, so I was obviously not the only one to have that same problem. This place is beautiful. That lake is huge. Lake Albert, or Yali, which must be the first Australian name for it. Anyway, there was heaps of nice people at the service station who came up for a chat. They liked the bike. I was going to park it somewhere and see if I could load up a bit more preload, especially on the rear suspension, and maybe dial it up a little bit on the front as well, but I didn't get any time because I was just talking too much, and then it got really cold. I mean, the bike's saying 17 degrees, but it's cold. It's really cold. I've got the grip warmers on 2, the seat warmer on 1. I'm really layered up. So yeah, next stop, Tail and Bend, full tank of petrol. Hopefully no more rain. The wind is still pretty strong, but it's mostly behind me. For the better part it is anyway. So it hasn't been all that unpleasant. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys down the track. Here we are crossing the Murray River. which is the river that actually, for those of you that don't know, that separates Victoria and New South Wales, and then it runs down into South Australia. In case you can't tell, the wind has really picked up again. But the riding is still good. It's cold still, but the seat warmer and the grip warmers are doing their job nicely. Well, this is Hahndorf, and it is freaking busy. I'm just a Bentley. And I can honestly say that slow speed with this heavily packed bike, with pedestrians jumping out from behind cars, and just the general chaos of all the cars around here, has made for some pretty interesting riding. I don't know, I shouldn't have stopped here. I do really like Hahndorf when it's not busy, but as you can see, it's a pretty popular destination on public holidays. Anyway, last stop before Adelaide. I'm going to get to Adelaide much earlier than I was hoping, so I might find a safe place to park the bike and go do some shopping, find a space to wash some clothes.
Well, I made it to Adelaide and I found a little parking garage not far from where my hotel is. The parking for the hotel looks pretty average, to say the least. So I might look into how much it's going to cost me to leave my bike here for the night, where it's all locked up. While I had the bike parked somewhere quiet and level and out of the rain, because it hasn't stopped raining, I got the manual out and I've started to have a play with the suspension setting, particularly the preload for front and rear, just because I noticed I was getting a bit more sag than I wanted. No jokes about it's a suspension term, okay? So I've just tightened up the preload, or added some preload to the front and the back. Particularly the back was really noticeable. With all the weight on the back plus me sitting on the bike was sagging a fair bit. But now it seems to be much more balanced. The front, I'll have a look tomorrow, but it just feels a little bit, the back seems to be more where it is when it's unloaded, which is what I was looking for. Anyway, I've got about 45 minutes until I can check into the hotel. There's a McDonald's just over there, so I might pop over there and have a little break and warm up, and I'll see you soon. Well, we made it to the end of day 4. I'm in my hotel here in Adelaide, which is pretty nice. Just about to edit today's video. I just finished watching the hockey, the first game of the first round of the Stanley Cup Finals. Go Maple Leafs. They smashed Ottawa today, which was awesome. Tomorrow I'm off to Port Augusta, and the weather forecast at least the next 3 days is looking amazing, thankfully. Like I've said before, the rain I can handle, the heat I can handle, the wind I could really use a break from. So with a bit of luck, tomorrow is not going to be all that windy. Anyway, I'll get back to editing now, and I will see you guys in the morning, the beginning of day 5.